Hey everyone, Mr. Macintosh here. In today's video, we're going to take a deep dive into how to boot your Mac into DFU mode, plus restoring BridgeOS, the operating system that runs on the T2 security chip on almost every 2018 plus Mac. Then I'll show you all the reasons why you might need to do this. Plus, I'm going to give you a full step-by-step demo of the whole process. Let's get started. This here, what you're looking at, is the comprehensive article that I put together to restore BridgeOS on a T2 Mac plus boot it into DFU mode. There's a lot of ins and outs and little things that we need to worry about when we're having to deal with this. But first, I want to tell you why you would want to do this. Why would you ever want to restore BridgeOS on your Mac or even boot into DFU mode in the first place? Well, let's take a quick look at here. I go over all the kind of reasons why you want to do this. Some of the ways that could cause your Mac to not start up is a failed operating system upgrade. That's like if you went from Mojave to Catalina, or if you installed a combo or Delta update that failed, or a macOS security update that's for the previous two operating systems, like for example Mojave and High Sierra. Every single one of those, the upgrade, the Delta, the combo, and the security update, include a BridgeOS update that will update the version of your T2 security chip every time you run one of those updates. So for example, if you're on 10.15.6 Catalina and 10.15.7 comes up, inside that update is the BridgeOS update that will update your T2 security chip on the boot. So when the system reboots and you see a black screen, the Intel side actually shuts off, and then the software updates that chip, and then the system powers itself back on. Now, as you can see, things could go wrong in that process. And if it does, your Mac will seem like it's dead. So this is a perfect article that would show you how to revive your Mac if you're in that situation. So let's see some of those symptoms of what the Mac might be doing if that failure happened. The Mac might just straight up seem dead. You installed the update, you came back to it, and it looks dead. It doesn't seem like it powers on. The screen's black. There's no fan noise. You don't hear anything out of it. You keep pushing the power button, nothing's happening. Now, this will even happen to the desktops. If you have a Mac Mini or a Mac Pro, you press the power button and the power LED doesn't even turn on. So these are kind of some of the things that could happen if an update has failed on the BridgeOS and the system won't even boot up. Let's go over which Macs have a T2. I mentioned 2018, but there's a kind of a caveat there because the 2020 iMac didn't get a T2 security chip until this year. So you can see all of the models that have the T2 security chip. If your model's not on here, this article or this video is not for you, because you have either the T1 security chip, or the T2 chip or T1 chip, and that's on 2016 and 2017 MacBook Pros with the Touch Bar. And those are not running that. That's running embedded OS. So that's totally different than BridgeOS. So here's all the compatible Macs. Let's say you want to know what BridgeOS version you're running on your T2 Mac. All you need to do is choose the Apple menu about this Mac, and that'll open up an overview, and then the hardware is default selected, and you can go down here to the boot ROM version, and then you see iBridge. That's your version. So on this particular screenshot, this person's running 17.16 10.5.25. Let's go over a couple of the requirements that you're going to need to do before you do this. This is not a simple process. This is kind of a very advanced process of something that you need to do, and you have to have all these pieces kind of set up before you even begin. First of all, you need a whole nother Mac. You can't do this if you only have one Mac. So unfortunately, if your Mac goes down, you don't have a second Mac, and most people don't. Most people just have a single Mac. You're going to be in trouble. Can you borrow or use your friend's Mac or a family member's Mac? Yes, you could, as long as you meet some of these requirements. Basically, you have to have the host Mac machine has to be able to be on the same version as the machine that you're trying to restore. That's kind of one of the only caveats here. It has to be on 10.13.5 or newer, and Apple Configurator 2.6 or newer installed on the system. And I mentioned the host Mac. The host Mac also needs to be, the host Mac is where you're going to be running Apple II Configurator to do this work. That's going to be where you're going to be sending all the information and the BridgeOS update installer to the dead Mac. you're going to need a USB-C to USB-C cable. Also, if you have a USB-A Mac and you don't, like for example, let's say you have a 2015 MacBook Pro, it's okay, you can use that. You just need a USB-A to USB-C cord, and you can get that from Amazon. I'm going to put the links to all these different cables and stuff that you might need in the description. The host Mac, you can plug in the cable anywhere, but the target Mac, you have to have it in this very special port on the left-hand side for the closest to the trackpad. So what else are you going to need? You're going to need Apple Configurator 2, and this is available in the Mac App Store. So on the host Mac, you go to that and you download Apple Configurator 2 here, and then you'll be ready to go. This is the application that's used to actually set up and restore your iPhone, your iPad, and any iOS device. And now you can do it with your Mac. So let's jump right in on how to boot your Mac into your T2 Mac into DFU mode. So what's funny about this is you can see I kind of got a little GIF here, and it's Indiana Jones trying to get the idle here, and that's how it is booting it. It's not like you just start your Mac and hold down one key and it's doing it. You have to do a double set of keyboard commands, and everybody has trouble with this. They've tried sometimes a bunch of times and they still can't get the Mac into DFU mode. The good thing is I know exactly how to do it, and I'll show you how to do it every single time. So here's Apple's instructions. It kind of goes in how they tell you to do it, but these are the ones that kind of cause everybody a problem. They tell you to hold down the power button, then the right shift key, the left shift key, and then hold it for about 3 seconds. Let me tell you something. That doesn't work. You need to hold it down for at least 10 seconds. So I wrote up my entire set of instructions how to do it every single time on time. So first of all, the target Mac's got to be off. Press and hold the power button for 1 second. Now it's while still holding that power button, the right shift, left control, and left option keys for up to 8 to 10 seconds. And I show you a little bit of a picture right here on what to do. So that's step 1, holding the red. Step 2 is holding the greens, and you hold them all together. And then before you know it, and you're into DFU mode. It's pretty close to being the same with the iMac Pro. It's just where you connect the USB-C cable, you plug it into the closest to the Ethernet port. For the Mac Mini, it's the closest to the HDMI port. For the Mac Pro, it's the farthest away from the power button. That's it. Now we're at Apple II configurator step, and this is where we're going to jump into the demo. I'm gonna show you exactly how to do this live. Then after the demo, I'm going to talk about a couple of the things that could go wrong and a couple of troubleshooting steps if you get any kind of errors, and then that's it. Let's jump into the demo. All right, let's get started. I've got 2 MacBook Airs sitting here. I've got the 2020 here. This is going to be considered the host Mac. Then I've got a 2019 MacBook Air that we're going to use. We're going to pretend that it's dead, and we're going to restore it. And that would be called the target Mac. So first we go back over here. I'm going to kind of go over these steps again. The first thing we're going to do is we need to fire up Apple Configurator 2. So let's get that open here. We're actually going to open that up in 2 so we can kind of see what's going on here. And this is going to be our main command center here for kind of doing the whole process. As you can see, it says here, I'll zoom in so you can see a little bit. It says connected devices. Apple Configurator supports iPhone, iPad, and Apple TV. It looks like they didn't even update it to say, hey, it supports Mac, but it does. So that's what we're going to see. We're going to wait for that to show. This is going to show a big DFU logo once we get it started and get it connected. And that's how we know it's connected and we're ready to begin. So back over here. And this is kind of a picture of what it looks like. That DFU, and I'll zoom in so you can see that a little bit there. Of what that logo is going to kind of look like here. The big DFU will come on the screen for Apple Configurator 2. So then we can begin the revise. So before we get that started, I want to show you the setup here. Remember how I talked about how you need to have them set up a certain way? And you'll need certain cables. So let's show first the best cable that you can use is the charging cable. And believe it or not, this does not just transfer power. This actually transfers data too. So that's why it's perfect for this situation. Plus you have it. You don't have to buy anything. You can just use your Apple charge cable. Now keep in mind, before you do this process, make sure your machines are 100% charged. If you can, plug them to power, because that's going to be the safest situation. You do not want these things to go down during this restore process. So let's see, what else cables can you use? You can use let's say if you had a PC Thunder or a USB 3.1 cable. As you can see here, this is an HP USB 3 cable, and this would be just fine. This will work just fine here. What else can you use? You can also use a Thunderbolt cable. I've got that here. And these are these are perfect for target disk mode if you have a docking station or something like that. This cable will work just fine. And you can tell it's a Thunderbolt obviously because of the Thunderbolt logo here. And finally, let's say, as I mentioned before, wonder if you have an older Mac. Let's say you don't have that second Mac and you needed a second Mac to do it, and your friend's got a 2015 or below that doesn't have USB-C. Well, guess what? You're not out of the woods, because I tested this. Apple says that Apple doesn't mention this on their site, but you can actually use a USB 3.1 or USB-A to USB-C, and this is an Amazon Basics cable. And again, I'll put the link in the description for these if you need one. This works perfectly if you have an older Mac. That's an easy way to do that if you don't have a USB-C Mac or a brand new Mac. So now that we got the cables, let's grab our USB-C cable or our charging cable, and it doesn't matter where you plug it in to the host Mac. So we're just going to plug it into this front one because that's fine, and then we'll wrap it around here and we'll plug it in. And this is the most important part. On the target Mac, it has to be in the front. You got two cables here, as you can see. It's got to be in the front one closest to the trackpad here. There you go. That's it. So let's begin. Let's pull up Apple Configurator 2 and let's see what we can see. It's not going to detect it because we're not in a DFU mode. Just like an iPhone or an iPad, you got to boot it into DFU mode before it detects it. So let's do that. You can see that the system's on. We're going to shut it down. Once you see the screen go black, we're ready to begin. There it goes. Now it's totally black. Now we'll go back to here, so you can kind of see here. And I'll scroll up to those keyboard commands again, and I'll zoom in here so you can see those. We're going to hold down the power button for 1 second, and then the other three keys for 10 seconds. I say 8, but 10 is usually a good number. And then you'll know you can stop when you see it on the DFU mode come onto Apple Configurator 2. So let's pull up Apple Configurator and we'll go through these steps here. So you can see step 1 and step 2. Pull up Apple Configurator 2 here. Now here's what we'll do. We'll hold down power button for 1 second, and then these three keys in addition to that for 10 full seconds. You're going to see the system power on. Don't worry, don't let go. It's going to power back off and then show us up in Apple Configurator 2. So let's get started. Here we go. And I'm going to count in 1,000 so you can kind of get a better idea for when you're trying to do it yourself. So here we go. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10 1,000. Done. DFU mode. We're ready to go. Again, the machine's off. There's no signs of life, and even if it's, like I told you before, if it's dead, it's still going into DFU mode if we can rescue it. And once you see it over here, and you can see it says Apple Controller, this thing's ready to go. And you can click on it, and we can get some more information about it. You can actually go to the Actions menu to look at some of these options. There's actually only really 2 options that the Mac is supported with Apple Configurator 2, and that is Update and Restore. Or, excuse me, Revive Device and Restore. They're in different parts of the menu system. Now, before, in older versions of Apple Configurator 2, you would do Restore for most of the items. But now with Apple Configurator, I think this is the latest version, which is Restore. Or, excuse me, Revive Device and Restore. They're in different parts of the menu system. Now, before, in older versions of Apple Configurator 2, you would do Restore for most of the items. But now with Apple Configurator, I think this is the latest version, which is 2.13.1. Restore now does something different, and I needed to make this clear here. If you just need to restore the BridgeOS, you want to always make sure that you go to Advanced and do Revive Device. What that does is, again, just like I mentioned earlier, it restores the BridgeOS operating system for your T2 security chip and erases it, reinstalls it brand new, fresh from the file in the system that we download from Apple directly. It goes out, it reads the system, pulls the exact BridgeOS version that I need, and installs it. And it's the latest one. It'll always be the newest one available. Now, why is this a big deal? Because if we click Restore, that's totally different now. With the new version, this will do two things now. And I'm putting this up here so you can read this message. Do you want to restore and update Apple Controller to the latest firmware version, which is the BridgeOS version? All of your media and other data will be erased from the primary disk. This action cannot be undone. So I'm going to scroll in there so you can see that bright and clear. We're not going to need to do the restore unless the revive does not work. That's what it's for. It's like if the revive doesn't work, it tries to reinstall, but maybe there's something wrong with the SSD. Maybe the partitioning is corrupted. Something's wrong. That's what this does. This will restore in the BridgeOS operating system, revive BridgeOS, and it'll completely erase your SSD on your Mac. And again, that option's only for in a serious situation where nothing works. So we're not going to do that though. We're going to start out by doing the revive, and we're going to do that live. So we're ready to do it. So all you need to do is you can click on the Actions menu and go to Advanced, or you can actually click on this little square and then you can go to Advanced and Revive Device. So here we go. There it goes, reviving device. I want to show you first real quick what this is saying. First, it's going to download. It's got to download 500 megabytes from Apple first. Then it's going to install the system, install it. As it's saying, step 4 is prepare. It unzips it, it downloads it, unzips it, prepares it, and installs it. I wanted to download it already because it takes a little bit of time. I didn't want to waste time in the video to jump right in. And you can see still nothing's happening on the screen. But shortly, you'll see this thing wake up. The whole process takes anywhere between 2 and 5 minutes to do. So right now, you can see that you can see the little progress circle down here. If you can see that, it's spinning around saying that it's installing. So what it's doing is it's transferring the file, unpacking and installing, and there it goes. It's alive. That's the sign that you're like, yes, we're back alive here. Now it's not done yet though. Leave it going. We're probably about 30 seconds left in the process here before it finishes. And what it'll actually do is going to shut down again. Then it's going to boot back up. And as soon as you see your login screen, you're done. You did it. So this is pretty much the whole process. After this is done, I will show you what will happen when we do a restore. And that's it. We're done. Look at this. We see that lock. It says Apple Controller, and look, it's alive. Boom. We're done. A successful BridgeOS update to the latest version. And that's how you do it. So let's say that didn't work, right? And it's like, what the heck? I guess I have I don't have any other choice. Hopefully you're doing your backups, right? Hopefully you're doing your your Time Machine backups or any of that. Look, we're alive here. Great. And then you're ready to go. You're done. You can unconnect it and you're ready to go. But let's say that didn't work. You now are going to have to wipe this drive, and we can wipe this drive, and I'll show you. And we're going to try to reinstall that way. So we're going to shut down here, and we're going to do a restore. Once we're shut down, wait for the screen to go completely black here. Done. Let's boot it back up. So we'll hold down, remember, 1, 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000, 5 1000, 6 1000, 7 1000, 8 1000, 9 1000, 10 1000. DFU, ready to go. And you could see on the screen while I was holding it down, it disappeared from that lock and it powered it back up, the T2 chip back up, the Intel side is off again, and it shows that we're ready to go. So now we're going to do that restore option that I was telling you about. So we're going to right click here, we're going to do that restore. And here we go. Here's that warning again saying that, hey, we're gonna update the BridgeOS and we're gonna wipe your entire drive. So here we go. As you can see, like I told you, it's downloading, unzipping, and then preparing. Those are the first 3 steps of the whole system. And again, this is going to go almost just as fast. It basically just wipes the entire drive and does the same thing as you did before. But in this case, you're going to end up with a flashing folder or an internet recovery. I can't remember exactly which. We're going to find out that out live. I think it shows you, because it's going to try to boot up, says it doesn't have anything on the SSD to boot to, and give you an option to boot to internet recovery to be able to restore it. And you can't boot to, obviously you can't boot to the macOS recovery because it even blows away that. So the drive is completely wiped. So we'll give it another second here, and I'll show you what to do. Oh, we're back alive. That's always a great sign. It's like you can cheer, yay, my Mac is alive, it's alive. What's interesting, while we're waiting for this to boot, I've got multiple articles that kind of talk about many times where this has happened in the past 3 years. Apple came out with the T2 security chip right when High Sierra came out, right in the middle of High Sierra. That was one of the first T2 security chips that came out in the iMac Pro. And from High Sierra all the way to Catalina now, there's been multiple situations where Apple has installed an update and it's completely bricked the device. And I'll put some of those links in the description if you ever want to kind of read an article about that. So here we are. Back here we can see this, but it's a little bit different here. We don't see anything on screen. We're going to kind of let it kind of sit here, and I think it's going to come up to something. We'll see here what it kind of does here. I think, and if I remember, we just got to wait for a little bit, or I got to try to power it back on. I can't remember here. I'm going to try to power it back on and see if it does anything here. Or is it off? I don't know. We'll find out. This will be great to kind of see what happens here. Oh, we're live. Great. Let's see what it does. So we did need to power it back on, and just like I thought. So in this situation, it doesn't power back on. In the restore, it shuts it off, and then you need to turn it back on. And just like I said, the disk is completely wiped. So it's basically telling you, I looked at the SSD, I could not find an operating system, I don't know what to do. So what do we do now? Well, we have a couple options. We can reinstall with a USB drive if you turned off external media, but most people don't know how to do that, right? Or they haven't done that because they leave the security on. So that's when we're going to have to boot into internet recovery. So I've got a nice little dock here that we can kind of plug in here, where we can get. Now you can use Wi-Fi to do that, or you can use Ethernet. And I like to use Ethernet because it's kind of reliable and fast. So I can plug in my little dock here and give us some Ethernet action here. And you can see this is a nice anchor dock here. So what we're going to do is we're going to power it down, and then we're going to boot it up to recovery. So we're going to power it down. Now it's off, and we can use Option Command R. And we should see a logo here. Give it a second. And then a recovery. Look at that. And you can see there's activity on the Ethernet, and then it'll go pretty quick. Again, you can still power it up with the internet recovery options, and still, like if you don't have an adapter for Ethernet, you can still use Wi-Fi to do that, and that works perfectly fine. And then you boot it in there, go into Disk Utility, erase the drive. I think it shows it as entitled to do that. And then erase the drive, and then just reinstall macOS. You're done. That's the whole process, guys. And I appreciate you sticking around. This was definitely a deep dive. And honestly, if you've seen my previous videos, I can go even deeper. I can show you all the different. I said I was going to kind of go over some troubleshooting, but we're already long enough here. I got all that in my article. All the links to the article and some of the other pieces are in the description. Like I said, we could dive real deep. I can show you where they store the file, how big the file is. We can go into all that kind of different things. But I wanted to give you a deep dive overview of how this whole process works. I appreciate all the watches. If you want to keep up with the latest information on macOS or the Mac, click that subscribe button. I will keep you up to date so you don't have to. And some of the new videos that I'm going to be coming out, I'm going to be talking about Apple Silicon. I'm going to be also doing a lot of how-to videos with some tasks that you can do for downgrading macOS, reinstalling macOS, with different ways to be able to do that in some of my future videos here. Anyway, guys, have a good night. Thanks a lot.